Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, the Versace Stunner. We're here with another episode of VSW. My goodness, so much has been happening. So much greatness in the world of wrestling. I mean, live pro wrestling. What an amazing show! Chaotic showdown, some epic matches, epic finales. Great wrestling. Just haven't been able to recap it all. And then you had all of the XUC Mr. X Memorial Tournament. I know the main event has not been released yet, but most of the wrestling world knows what has happened. And if you haven't, you will find out this week. You know, um, but tonight we are bringing on a guest who we've seen him before. We've had him here on VSW, and he was talking reunion wrestling a while ago. We had him back for KPW wrestling. He actually beat me up a little bit in the ring at KPW, Rage in the Cage. He's a little bit of a loose cannon, one might say. And that's Ray Rancin. He'll be coming to XUC. We're going to give him a call. We're going to talk to Ray. And let's see what he has to say. And yes.
Versace,
Ray, what is going on?
not much. Just getting ready for my match with Victoria Fox, and wanted to take a little time out to come on your podcast, talk about that, a couple of other things. So I'm ready when you are.
Sounds good. Sounds good. We're live. I was just telling fans, last time we saw it wasn't the best of conditions at KPW. You slapped me around a little bit, but I let bygones be bygones. Now it's a new page. We're in XUC here. A new champion has been crowned. You are now going to be stepping, foot in this promotion. Kind of the new guy. But let's hear about it. I want to hear what you're going to bring to XUC.
Well, I'm bringing to XUC what I always bring, and that's me. my intensity, my energy, my aggression, and a little surprise for the XUC locker room and Victoria Fox.
So still kind of the same old Ray. But now you have been doing some different, well, let's say, methods of training, preparing for this matchup. Things that maybe opponents aren't really used to.
That's right. A different style of wrestling, um, and more brawling, more real fighting. So yes, I've been actually training more in fighting as opposed to the fancy technical wrestling. And more recently, this year, I got to attend a seminar held by Dan Severn.
Oh, Dan the
I got to
Beast.
Yeah, I got to pick his brain a little bit and learn some holds that I can put on any opponent and make them suffer even more than I usually make them. So, uh,
So you
got
learned some.
to
You
talk with
learned.
him a little bit, and might even have the opportunity to go and wrestle for his promotion, Price of Glory. And I'm just, in fact, waiting on a response from him. So, um, but that's what's been going on
That's
this year.
amazing. Amazing. Height of the Attitude Era. I was, just graduating, just finished graduating, but Dan the Beast was one of the major characters in the game at the time. Him, Ken Shamrock. These guys kind of crossed over and brought this different style of wrestling, as you might say, because they brought in the fighting, they brought in the submission that you would use in the cage, or you might use in boxing or MMA. You know what I'm saying? They brought that into WWE. WWE tried to replicate it a little bit, failed terribly, failed horribly. But fast forward now, years ahead. A lot more people are into it. Brazilian jiu-jitsu, martial arts, all of that is becoming more and more prevalent in wrestling itself. It's not just your suplexes and leg drops and just kind of boring over the everyday wrestling moves.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I mean, guys like Severed and Shamrock help the business transition into a different style and move along in a different direction.
Yeah,
And
I could even say they probably kind of even paved the way for people to actually accept people like Brock Lesnar in wrestling.
sure, that's a fair point.
They gave us, they gave the audience a different kind of perspective, and I think if you've had these seminars, I've seen some training videos, and you're kind of bringing that style back of that kind of almost early 2000s shoot wrestling, I would call it. It has that impact. It's almost like it's its own style, but like you said, you're learning how to fight, not how to wrestle. So your opponent might be going in for a headlock or a suplex. You might just do a quick block like karate, and then strike.
Sure. Maybe that's one of the many things I could do in the ring with any opponent at any given time. And I think it's just another layer that I'm adding to my overall game, something that I truly believe is going to give me a distinct tactical advantage over anybody.
I think so. I actually do believe that because and that's something that I want to explain. XUC is a little bit different than like that previous KPW, where it was mostly just hardcore and brawling and just that. XUC, we have accepted all wrestling types. So we do have martial arts specialists. We got ninjas in there. I mean, we got all sorts of different styles, old school styles, luchador styling. So it's a good blend, and I think you're gonna have a good fit. Now, you and Victoria are gonna be having a match. It's gonna be a world title match. Um, that match, like I was telling the fans, it has not actually been released yet, but most of the wrestling world knows she's won. She's posted photos. It's been all over XUC. It's been everywhere. So the match will be actually out this week. So you'll actually get a chance to watch your opponent's final match before you wrestle her if you do study tape.
Oh, yes, I love to study tape. It's something that I've been doing since I was 8 years old. So the first chance I get to see anything of Victoria Fox, I'm going to do that for sure. And from what I understand, she's a tough young lady. Got some size and strength to her. Almost, from what I've been told, a cross between China and Luna Vachon.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
uh, I always like getting in there with tough opponents. I don't like easy competition, contrary to what some people might think. I'm always looking to step up and take a challenge whenever it's offered. So when I found out about this Victoria Fox, I said, sign me up, please.
Yeah, it's a one-on-one match. There's no clubs involved. There's nobody in your corner. It's you and her, and she doesn't have nobody in her corner either. But you know, and she's accepting all challenges. And I thought in my head, Ray, I haven't seen Ray wrestle. I know he's been working on some things. Let's just see if she'll bite at it. And I said, why don't you talk to her? Why don't you hit her up? Why don't you see? And sure enough, she accepted, which is great. As I thought she would. She's a fighting champion. I will give her that. Her first encounter that her in XUC, I saw her beat up, one of your old pals, Tough Daddy. He was just sitting there. I don't know if he said something to her and showed her some kind of disrespect in the locker room. She just wailed on him. It's kind of hilarious. But, in her other matches, she's very, very dominant. But I don't think she has faced somebody as dangerous as Ray Rancin. You're dangerous. You're dangerous in the ring. You're a dangerous adversary because you. To me, you're a chess player. I know. I've studied you a little bit, Ray. I'm a big fan of Ray Rancin. I've studied you. I've watched your matches. I've watched all your matches that I could find, And you are that chess player type of wrestler. You're very calculated, almost like a Jake the Snake, just sitting there waiting for your move. And I respect that. I really do. I really, really respect that. Now you got somebody that's young, on fire, and very dangerous. She has this like edge-like spear that's just been putting people out in XUC. I mean, I guess I would say if you avoid that, besides that, you might have the upper hand in this.
Well, what I would say first off is one, I don't give a damn about Victoria Fox's gender. She put out an open challenge to any and all comers, and now that I've accepted it, I'm going to beat her like a man. I'm going to fight her like a man, and she's going to know what it's like to be a woman in a man's world. And I hope she's ready for that.
Well, I mean, I'm sure she is, and is this your first intergender match, actually, Ray?
Yes, I've never had the opportunity to have a match with a female, so
I mean, I'm a big
uh,
fan of intergender wrestling. I'll tell you that. I don't look at wrestling as women's wrestling, men's wrestling. I look at you all wrestlers. You can fight each other. There should be just one champion amongst you. Because if you're better, you're better. It doesn't matter, man, women, small, big, whatever the issue, case, whatever it might be. I don't really care. It's the best person wins.
that's how I see it, especially in these times. Not to get into a political tangent, but with people always advocating for equal rights and human rights and things of that nature. I think it's just so appropriate that now it's making its way into wrestling more than it ever has. And
Oh, definitely, definitely. I mean, it's much more of a different world than let's say when you probably started, and even more so when you watched, and it's the right path. And I'm glad that, like you said, I'm glad that it's getting to where it is, and we're seeing a lot of great talent emerge from this.
right, and if Victoria Fox turns out to be one of those individuals, then great for her. But she still has to face me, and as the old saying goes, for every fox there's a hound, and I always catch my fox. So I'm definitely ready to go.
Well, that's gonna be, this is gonna be a very exciting match. I really just can't wait. And like I said, title on the line, which means you might be walking out holding more gold.
That would be nice, and if it happens, great. However, I don't really do this for trophies.
Oh, so
I
you
do
have a
this just
different
because
motive here.
it's something I love to do. Yeah.
So what's your motive of even taking on Victoria Fox? I mean, you could have picked anybody in XUC to challenge. You could have beat up Tough Daddy again. Could have beat up Rob,
Well,
Maniac
it's
Mike.
it's it's very simple. The fact that Fox did issue a challenge to any and all comers, and I'm always looking for new challenges. I'm not one of these guys that's looking to rehash old feuds, old grudges. Which again, contrary to what people might think, that's not my path. I want fresh competition. I want real competition, and it just so happens it's against somebody who's holding a championship title and that it is up for grabs. Great. To me, that is just a bonus, though, because again, I just like the thrill of competing. I like to fight. That is why I'm still doing it after all these years.
And I can respect that too. You're doing it for the love of it. I mean, if you win, like you said, you win. If you get that gold around your waist, cool. If not, it is what it is. But you're doing it more for the fight of it, the thrill of it, the challenge. And you could say you've kind of jumped out of that pond into the ocean. You want to swim around a little bit now, and move out as far as you can go.
That's right.
And you're only going to do that by facing fresh talent. You can't have the same match against the same person across 10 promotions and expect to go very, very far. I mean, unless you're like Hulk Hogan or somebody that's been booked big and it's a big storyline, it's not going to be your ticket to the next level right now. But you fighting all these new people, and like I said, there's so many people in XUC that I don't think you faced. If you can get through Victoria, then you might have to issue an open challenge, and then you'll face all sorts of newcomers, and that'll make even a bigger name for Ray Rancin.
Exactly, and I mean, I've never been one to turn down opponents anyway. So if I were to defeat Victoria Fox, and I do believe that I can beat her, that it would just be another avenue to finding more competitors that would step in there and take me on, as opposed to me having to go out proactively seek those opponents. I would have them waiting for me, and then I could just take on whoever I want. Which again, it's going to be whoever is willing to come down the pike and take me. Um, I'm not going to say no to whomever it might be. I'm just not built that way.
Yeah, and that's good. That's good because XUC is a fighting, promotion. People like to fight. They like to, they're not afraid to, get it in the ring. Like I said, Victoria's first, real encounter, she, Top Daddy rubbed her the wrong way. She took it out on him in the back room and just, tore him apart. And she's been on a streak ever since. She was very victorious in that tournament. 3 victories one day. It's kind of like the old King of the Rings. When Bret Hart won and Owen Hart won and this and that. An 8-man tournament is no, it's no little feat. It's a nice victory. It's a nice little, trophy. And then to boot, you become the first XUC champion. And it was a memorial show for Mr. X, who unfortunately passed away. Mr. X Jr., now wrestling, has kind of, taken on that legacy and that role, and they issued a belt, and it was a big deal. You know, but the big deal now is kind of over, and now it's time, like I said, for business to resume, and that's what I'm about, business. And like I said, challenges. You're the next in line. Tough Daddy stepped up. I vouched for him. I said I wanted him to face her. He didn't really get to face her in the tournament, but at the same point, he lost the tournament. So I told Tough Daddy, we're gonna wait. Let Ray, get next in line. He's proven himself time and time again. He can beat you hands down. So let's just hold us back for a minute. We'll let you have the next bout, and we'll go, after that. With that being said, we might be facing each other once again in opposite corners if that comes down to it. But we will cross those paths when we get there. But the fans, I'm a big fan of Ray. I know there's other fans of Ray. I saw you now have merch out, which is great. Congrats, and I'll post links to that in my, in this, description of this so people can, buy the shirts because they love the imagery. They love who you are in the ring, and that's great. But I also feel like, with that, you also have the haters, and almost every show you go in, you almost have a target on your back for some reason. And I feel like the same thing is with this. There's people out there that are like, oh, Ray's coming, I'm gunning for Ray. I've already heard whispers from some juggalos and others of gunning for Ray Rancin. And I just, no matter where you go, you just, like I said, you seem to also have the target on your back.
You're absolutely right. And um, all I can really say to that is I don't live my life in fear. I've never lived my life in fear. I'm not going to start doing it now. So I'm going to keep taking my chances, whether it's with the Juggalos, TJ Tucker, Tough Daddy, or whomever it is that comes in front of me. I'm I'm okay with people cheering me, booing me, or however they choose to respond to me every time I go out there. So that's nothing I'm going to lose sleep over. And At the end of the day, the fans are going to decide how they feel about me. I can't really change that. I am who I am, and it is what it is.
No, that's good, because I see some people kind of like adapt towards the fans, or they hear the fans kind of cheer, and they kind of like, oh, and they change their whole way of style, and it just doesn't work for them, and they end up just on a losing streak, one loss after another. But the fans are loving it, but it's not doing them any good. You got to follow your own path and kind of just block out the noise, whatever's going on, whether it is cheers, whether it is boos. That's the way to victory. That's the way to success. Is just to block all that up. The fans are there just to get you paid, really. Not much else.
Well, I would say they're there for more than just that, but your point is still taken. I'm not in this just to be validated by an audience. So again, how they choose to react and respond to me is their choice, and it's not going to add or subtract anything from what I do and how I do it.
Well, yeah. And that's what I kind of bring up the point is, XUC is run a little different. There is no audience. We don't want distractions. We don't want all that. We just want good wrestling. That's what we were told to have happen. That's how we run it. Sometimes you might see some of the boys sitting and, hanging around after they got, a little beat up and they're a little sore. They might sit and, cheer and boo. But, there's no live audience for XUC. And it gives a different atmosphere. Some people can't handle it. Some people can't, cope with, not having the cheers. If you're a big, fan favorite, they need that roar of the fans to even like get into the ring. I've seen it happen. I've seen great wrestlers crumble with just the silence. Um, Me, I find it peaceful. I find the silence peaceful, just hearing the wrestling, not so distracted by, the chants and all of the noise and all of that. But, like I said, some people really do need to harness that energy, and I get it, and it does make matches different. But at XUC, it is a different environment. Are you going to be able to adapt to that? Are you going to be able to work with that?
Oh God, yes. I'm when I first started out, and I was accustomed to wrestling in very small venues in front of practically no audience, anyways. So it's not something that I think much about. Uh, Even when there is an audience, I'm not really thinking about them. I'm not focused on anything except what I need to be doing when I'm in the ring. So a lot of that noise it just kind of blends in with whatever's going on in the ring. So I hear the sounds of getting slammed or backdropped or suplexed, and then I hear the audience booing and jeering and cheering, and it's just, as they say, white noise. It's not something that has a real effect on me. It's just something that's there. So with or without it, because I'm used to training anyways with no crowd noise, whether it's wrestling or boxing, whatever I'm training in. Um, I've been accustomed to, near or total silence anyways. So I don't foresee it being an issue at all.
Very good. Like I said, I asked because like I said, I've seen some great wrestlers kind of crumble when they get into the ring, and mid match, they're looking for that. They might have gotten themselves in some trouble perhaps, and their opponent has them locked up, and they're looking for that fan validation. They're looking for those cheers and those, that pump up to get them to try to get to their feet. And it's just not there, and they just fall flat and lose. And it's a sad state when you can catch it, especially if we can catch it in live motion. But I kind of find it funny though too, because I too come from like a world of boxing, and as you know, and we've talked about that, and the training is like that. The noise kind of just gets whitewashed anyways. Your focus is on your opponent, and everything else is just kind of blanked out until it's over anyways. But But yeah, some people really just need that, and I like to always warn the XUC people when they come in that it is run differently. I had another wrestler come, and he wouldn't come out of he can't come out of the locker room because no theme music. I don't like to play the theme music. I don't if I don't own it, I'm not gonna play it. That's my motto. I do a lot of streaming. I do a lot of stuff to YouTube. They've asked me, numerous times to try to, keep in the realms of what I'm allowed to use for audio as far as copyright. So I just decided to say no music at all, unless somebody comes up to me and say, "Hey, I own this song. I made it on my computer. You can use it," and then I'll use it fine. But otherwise, there's no music. So, people have trouble coming out without their jam too. So no fans, no music. You come out, you fight. Almost like I don't know, like I can't even really describe the kind of feeling because it's almost like a pit fight, but there's people watching. There's a referee. It's not a free for all here. This is a regular normal wrestling match. Let's get that straight. It's just a very focused wrestling match. There's not a lot of outside distractions. So it'll just be you, Victoria, and the ref there. As it should be, kinda. And like I said, it's just a very different atmosphere. But I'm excited. I'm excited for this kind of atmosphere because it is something different.
And I'm excited myself. I kind of like the idea of no audience, no music, because it almost feels more like a parking lot fight or a street fight or a bar fight.
In a way, it is.
And
In a way, it is.
yeah,
And in a way, it is. I mean, granted, there's rules, there's regulations, there's a ref, there's all that. But in a way, there is that fight. And we took away a lot of the glitz and glamour of modern day wrestling and brought it back to maybe when it would just be, a circle drawn on a fairground and, two wrestlers wrestling. Um, of course, obviously, it also is in a ring. There is rope and everything else. It's in we do it at Showcase Pro Wrestling School. It's, fully licensed school for wrestling. It's not even like the other, XUC, KPW, which was, done in the cage, which, that was a different feel too. But, it's a regular wrestling ring. So you have all the amenities that you would have, wrestling. It's just, like I said, it is going to have that kind of street fight feel. You're going to show up, you're going to see your opponent, you're going to fight. And like I said, I think you're going to be a good fit for this. I will admit, I kind of vouched for you in this promotion. I kind of sent an email over to the promoter, and I was like, "Hey, there was Ray back in, this other, and I sent him some video. I showed him your YouTube that you just set up. Um, you know, I sent him on to your Facebook. He said, "Yep, run with them, run with them, run with them, go, go, go." And he gave me the go ahead to have you, go ahead. And like I said, I'm really excited for this matchup. I think you and Victoria are gonna have good chemistry, even though you guys have never really met before.
well, either way, it's not going to stop me from doing what I need to do, and I want to kick her ass, and I want to take that belt for myself, and uh, whatever needs to be done in order to accomplish that, I'll do it. Um, make no mistake about it. I'm going there to fight Victoria Fox. This is going to be less of a wrestling match involved and more of a good old fashioned Pierce Sixer, as Jim Ross used to say. And I just hope that she's ready for that. And if not, she's going to be in for a long night because I don't know if anybody's ever tested her quite like that previously.
I'm not sure. I've watched her matches. I saw the tournament. She's had some good ones. Nyx is a very formidable foe. So wasn't the pariah, and she's been very dominant. But you, like I said, you're a little bit different. You're made different. You're trained differently. You wrestle differently. You're a little bit different bred than the rest of this locker room that she's used to. So this might be her biggest challenge yet, and I can't wait for it on Sunday. Like I said, and then we will be posting it through the YouTube in the weeks to come. I unfortunately will not be around. I will be actually finally going on my honeymoon, Ray, back from May. Finally able to get away. We'll be in sunny Florida for 2 weeks. But you'll be here sweating it out, fighting
Well,
for some gold.
congratulations, by the way,
Oh,
on your
thank you.
honeymoon and your marriage. And with or without you, I'm going to show up and I'm going to fight somebody, whether it's Victoria Fox or whomever it might be. I'll take them on. But
That
my
is great,
understanding
and
is
I
that
have my
Fox, and it's a
just
title match, and let's get this done.
that's great. That's great. And I mean, I will have my friend, the VSW guy, Mikey, there, the camera guy. He'll be there. He'll greet you. He'll show you around if you need to be shown. But I'm pretty sure you're gonna know your way around the ring and everywhere. But if you need anything, you just holler at him, Ray. Thank you again for coming on. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. And I look forward to see what happens. Someone's gonna be sending me the match live. I mean, not live. I mean, later in the day. So I will be looking forward. I can say good luck and congratulations in XUC.
Well, thanks for having me on again, and thanks for helping me be brought into XUC.
Sounds great. Have a good one, Ray.
You too now.
There you have it, folks. Ray Rancin. This is gonna be something really special. I think, like I said, XUC is different. There is no fans. There is no music. It is an older school feeling. It is that street fight feeling, but it's with it in a ring. There is also a referee. There isn't, there's rules, and it's something a little different. It's something that I think people are gonna enjoy. I hope so. But this matchup here is big, and the championship is on the line. Also, later this week, you can look forward to the championship match. It will be out finally. So stay tuned for that, everybody. Thank you for listening.